Good evening, everyone, and welcome to playoff action here on the Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV. Normally I'm by myself when we start, but not tonight. There he is, my guy, Pep Fernandez. How are you, Pep?
Oh, the Coach's Perspective?
Yes, to the coach. We're not on the Pep Rally or the Jeff Rally.
I just came down to the studio early to get ready for the Pep Rally. I thought we were getting ready for the Pep Rally.
If that's the case, you're here about 17 hours, 24 hours early. But Pep, we are in playoff action. We have 4 teams playing in the city of Riverside. In fact, I think we're going to have them all. We have Ken Batdorf from Norte Vista. We have Keith Adams of CSDR, California School for the Deaf Riverside, if you didn't know that acronym. And then, of course, Jason McMains from Martin Luther King. And then we're going to bring in our dear friend Ken Mashinsky, the defending state champion of my Ramona Rams. Pep Fernandez, what are your thoughts after 10 weeks and we're now in playoff action?
You know, and I'll just go in division. I'll start with Division 7 with Ramona. They're going to be at home against Rio Hondo Prep. And Jeff, I know you're going to talk to Coach Mashinsky, and you brought up something. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. I know they were undefeated, 10-0 during the regular season this year, but they've got a 16-game winning streak dating back to last season, which included the CIF Southern Section title, which included the state championship. So Ramona's really been on a roll for a year and a half. I mean, more than that, but really 16 games in a row. That's going back to half of last season as well. And I know there's a lot of new players. I mean, Sincere Tolbert's back, but there's a lot of new guys, stepping up for head coach Ken Mashinsky. This is Division 7. Last year was Division 11. I mean, things got leveled up. It's only going to be tougher for the Rams, but they're good. I mean, they're 10-0. That doesn't happen by accident.
And they're playing a team, which, we always talk about the playoff matchups, and you reward teams that do well. 10-0, you got to say it, they got a home game. But they have a tough one in Rio Hondo, who was a division champion last year as well. So 2 CIF division champs going at it in the first round.
Yeah, I think Rio Hondo Prep was D9 and Ramona was Division 11 last season. Now they both got leveled up to, D7. I think Ramona winning the River Valley League title, going 10-0. They knew they were going to be, bumped up, but how far would they go? And then obviously we saw the brackets come out this past Sunday and they got put in Division 7. So luckily they rewarded Ramona with a home game for winning that league championship, which I think that's how it should be. If you're just asking me, if you win your league title, you should start out at home. Doesn't always happen. Ask Ken Batdorf at Novi from last season. But yeah, I think it's good they start out at home. Division 7 is going to be so tough, and potentially we could see a Ramona versus King second round game, which would be epic here in the city of Riverside if King can get past a very good Vista Del Lago team.
Well, I'm going to ask both coaches, and I'm sure they're going to give me coach speak. They always do. You ask them about the game ahead. But, I was that one coach that always would talk about anything and didn't bother me because, I didn't win that much, so that kind of changes things. But it's going to be fun. Hopefully we can see that matchup with King. King has had their ups and downs this year, haven't they?
Yeah, but, being in Division 7, you probably feel like if you're a King fan, they've got as good a shot as anybody else to make a run in CIF. They got a tough first-round draw, though. Vista Del Lago is the third-place team out of the Ivy League, but they went 8-2. They beat some really good teams, and offensively, they got some real playmakers. I think this is a tough game for King right out of the gate. And but like I said, I think every game in Division 7 is going to be a battle. Like even the first round game for Ramona. I mean, Rio Hondo Prep.
Yes.
I mean, they're really good. You're going to hear from Coach Mashinsky in a little bit. He thinks they're really good. He thinks this is a tough game that they got in the opening round. So I think every game in Division 7 is going to be tough. But with that said, it's wide open. You probably feel like every team, Ramona, King, Vista Del Lago, every team probably feels like, hey, we could stack a couple wins and make a run to CIF.
Now, does it help Martin Luther King playing, they played Marietta Valley. They played some really, really good teams. Their league is so tough. Does it help them, you think, when they are playing Vista Del Lago, which we haven't seen very much of, but we've heard a lot about? Does it help them, or is it kind of a toss-up?
Well, I think it's a toss-up only because you can make the same argument for the Ravens from Vista Del Lago because they had to play Orange Vista and Rancho Verde, right?
Yes.
So it's not like they had some easy schedule and they went 8-2 beating a bunch of teams we've never heard of. They beat some really good teams and they played some really good teams in the Ivy League, which can, Paloma Valley, JW North, Liberty, Orange Vista, and Rancho Verde along with Vista Del Lago. So they come from a very tough league too. So is King battle tested? Yes. Is Vista Del Lago battle tested too? Yes. So you can make the argument for both those teams.
Okay, now let's jump over to our third team in Riverside that's playing, and they have a shot, and that is Norte Vista High School, Ken Batdorf. They're playing against a very tough Serrano team, and I talked about this on the Jeff Rally Friday night. Yes, the Jeff Rally. And I said this. I said if Ken Batdorf can get past this first round, I think they're going to be a CIF champ. I think it's 32 years in the making. It would be great to see him get that ring finally. But Serrano's no deal. I mean, no joke. They're playing it tough. They play Oak Hills. They play a very, very good, tough schedule.
Yeah, that's a tough draw for Novi to go on the road like that up into the high desert. Quick plug for the Friday Night Pep Rally. We're going to have highlights of the Ramona game. We're going to have highlights of King versus Vista Del Lago. And we are going on the road with the Novi Braves up there to the high desert to get highlights of their game against Serrano. And Jeff, I'm right with you. I don't know a whole lot about Serrano, but I was looking at their schedule. They beat Patriot by a couple touchdowns. If that wants to, maybe put that in perspective, but that was a long time ago in non-league play. So, things change over the course of a season. But if you're trying to compare maybe a common opponent, yeah, Serrano beat Patriot by a couple scores, and Patriot's good. Patriot's a playoff team. So that is a tough first round game. It's never easy to make that long bus ride up the Cajon Pass. It's probably going to be windy, a little chilly. I think they play on natural grass still. So I know Novi likes to play fast. So I don't know, maybe that plays in Novi's favor because they used to play on grass, right, for the longest time out there at Norte Vista High School.
They played mainly on dirt for the most part.
That's true too.
But I'll tell you what, talking with Ken Batdorf, they're very young. The team up Serrano is very young. He says they're talented. They like to play smash mouth football. So it could be a quick game, or I'll tell you what, it's going to come down to the big guys up front. And I think if Ken Batdorf can get this first win, I think he has his best opportunity to win his first CIF championship 32 years later.
Yeah, from what I hear, it's going to be like looking in the mirror, right? Novi and Serrano, they're going to want to do very similar things, especially with that running attack. So you're right. It could be a very quick game. It could be, these long 10-minute drives for each of these teams where you don't get a ton of possessions.
Yes.
So we'll see. But I'm with you. That's a tough road game to open things up in Division 8. But if they win on the road at Serrano, that might open up a path for the Braves to get all the way to the championship game.
Well, I hope we can get him his championship so he can retire, because I'm tired of looking at him, for God's sakes. But let's talk about our game of the week, and that is our CSDR, California School for the Deaf Riverside. Go Cubs, as they're going to be playing against Cal Lutheran out of, I think, Wildemar.
Yeah.
And this is Division I 8-man football. This is their fourth straight appearance to try to get the third straight CIF championship, but their fourth in a row to play. And they lost the first year, but they've won 3 in a row. What do you think their shots of this year playing Division I the Cubs have?
I'm just going to go ahead and just pencil in the Cubs as your 8-man football champions of the world right now. I'm just going to do it right now. So, because you know what I mean? Like, I know you have to play the games, right? On paper, they're going to be heavily favored in every single game. You have to go out there and play the game. But the Cubs, they have been so dominant all season long. They haven't lost all season. And all these other teams that are going to be in their division, I don't know. I don't know if there's another 8-man team that's even going to come close to these guys.
Well, you and I have covered them for a few years now, and if you haven't watched 8-man football, tune in tomorrow night. Ghazal, Hassan, and I will be on the call. It's like arena football, or
yes.
It's football on. I shouldn't say it's football on steroids, because that used to be big in the '80s. But this is football on. What's that energy drink everybody drinks?
Monster
or Red Bull. This is Red Bull football. It's fun to watch. Check us out tomorrow night as we have CSDR playing for their first round playoffs. And then post game, what are we going to have, Pep?
The Friday Night Pep Rally. So highlights from CSDR. We mentioned King versus Vista Del Lago. Ramona home for Rio Hondo Prep. On the road with Norte Vista up in the high desert. And we're going to have highlights from a ton of other games. There's another big one. Moreno Valley's playing Valley View. That's kind of an interesting game, an all-local battle in the city of Moreno Valley. We're also, we're trying to get highlights. We're going to keep tabs on Citrus Valley, the Blackhawks, who are also in Division 7 with Ramona. So if you're a Ramona fan, you got to keep an eye on Coach Bruick and the Blackhawks, because they are looming out there also in Division 7. So Ramona, Vista Del Lago, King, Citrus Valley, man, Division 7 is going to be amazing.
Well, and then of course we have Saturday. We have RCC. I think who are they playing?
San Diego Mesa.
San Diego Mesa.
Yeah.
And this is for trying to get their second national championship. Pep will be there on the sidelines. And then of course Saturday night we're going to do after our football game.
That's a lot.
Oh my golly! So we have a football game starting at 1, and then at 5 p.m. tune in to. Yes, ESPN Plus, you get to see this guy and this guy calling CBU basketball as who are they playing? They're playing
Kennesaw State.
Kennesaw State.
The Owls.
They run the system, guys. Tune in, watch it all. CBU is going to get their second win of the year on ESPN Plus with Pep and Jeff. Hey, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we will have the 4 coaches in this week's CIF playoffs, only on the greatest sports show in the world, The Coach's Perspective, here on Riverside TV. And welcome back to The Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV, as we're now joined by the head coach of the Norte Vista Braves, the great Ken Bettendorf. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing all right.
Just all right, Coach? Come on, it's playoff football.
It's playoff football, but I'm hungry.
You're
I'm a stress eater. I'm a stress eater, all right? I got all the way down to 284, and then all of a sudden, we lost a game, and I started eating, and I'm back to like 295.
Hey, Coach, you look good, but hey, let's talk about this playoffs. Last couple of years, last year you had a great season. You're on the road. This year you had another great season, 9-1. You're back on the road again in the first round against a very, very good Phelan Serrano team. You played them. I think you played them 10 years ago. What are your thoughts, and what do they look like this year?
They're a good football team, like you said. They do a lot of really good things. They do go from spread offense to tight football, like similar to what we run, which is kind of a tough thing because not many people are familiar with power football anymore. The people in our league are because they've seen us. But outside our league, it's kind of a huge advantage in CIF to see people that have never seen power football. So they have a huge step up over most of the teams. In fact, I even told people if you had to pick the worst team for us to play in the division, it would be Serrano. So it's also a tough place to play. So we have to bring our A game and be ready to play.
Now, we've talked about the brackets. I think last year you were kind of in no man's land, which didn't help you. But if you win this first game, do you feel pretty good about the bracket?
We'll take one game at a time. Everybody, it's cliche, but it's true. I'm not even worried about who wins in the next bracket and the next game over. We have to take care of Serrano. We have to play good football, and if we do, we'll get the momentum running, and we'll see what happens. But right now, let's just focus on one game. I'll be honest. The bottom part of the bracket, I think, is the easiest. You got some really good teams at the top. I'm not looking at them yet. I'm more curious about, can we play the right way we're supposed to, and if we do, we'll be fine. But it's high school football. We got 16 and 17-year-olds. Heck, I got 15-year-olds too. So, we got a lot of young kids, but we got a veteran line, and they're finally healthy, and we're excited about that.
Now, 9-1. Are you feeling good about your season? Do you feel like you guys had a good year?
Oh, I can't tell you until we're done. And in fact, one of my famous comments is, I can't tell you for 10 more years. If in 10 years the seniors from this class come back and they're great fathers and husbands, and they're happy and they're successful, this was a fantastic year. If in 10 years these guys aren't successful, I did something wrong. So for that reason, I never say if we're successful or not until the season's not just over, but 10 years from now.
Well, you have some playmakers on offense. We've talked about them for a few years, but the guy that's really kind of stepped up this year is your quarterback, Seth Bolander. What's he meant to you? I mean, you normally don't throw the football, but you're getting a lot of yards from that young man on the ground and in the air.
Seth is incredibly important to us, not just like you said with throwing the ball, but just running the offense. Every now and then, in fact, in practice this week, I would make a missed call, and Seth would fix it. Here's a kid if you looked at Seth as a sophomore and you look at Seth now, it's, oh my God, he's got so much bigger, height-wise, strength-wise, speed-wise. Seth is our X factor. And for us to be successful, Seth will have to have a big game.
And you're running back by committee. I mean, you have Dreddy Lane, the road runner, but you have a couple of young guys that have kind of stepped up. Who are these guys? This appeared out of nowhere, it seemed like.
Well, Dreddy wasn't 100%. He's now a whole lot better, which is great. He's running about what we expected him to. But when he wasn't, we went to a freshman named Lee White, and Lee is doing a tremendous job. And it's a two-headed monster. And don't forget, you got Jaden Henderson. So we got three guys that can carry the rock. And we have a senior fullback / tailback of short yardage in Isaac Costello. So we have, several guys that can carry the ball, and we have a few good guys that could go get it. You guys have honored King Butler a number of times for some of his catches. And, Jordan is finally healthy, Jordan Rivas, and we also put Jaden out there as a receiver. So we finally got our playmakers ready and our line's healthy. And the only excuse we have is we just don't play well. That's the only way we don't win. So, or they just have a bad coach, which could be.
Well, let's talk about your big boys up front. They do a great job. You've worked so hard. You guys work hard in the weight room. They're smart kids, but there's a couple on that line that are pretty special.
You know what? We just had our last practice pretty much of the year. I think it's getting dark now. I'm starting not to see me. That didn't really help. But I talked to our senior linemen, and I kind of did a little reminiscing, even though hopefully it's not our last practice. But I remember when they were freshmen and talking about some of their games and making fun of them, saying, "Oh, you're not very tough." And boy, did I get that one wrong. But I went to the group, and I said, "You guys have a great line, and we're losing a ton of linemen. I need you guys to step it up and show up in the weight room." And they all did. And I can't be happier with a group of kids as far as their commitment to the football program and to get better. And from where they started to where they are now, it's just amazing.
Well, Coach, I think you're on year 32, if I'm not mistaken. Is it 32 years?
I think it's more like year 2.
Year 2 for you?
Year 2. I've been here for a while, and it's just, when I look at some of the past teams, and everybody asks me to compare what was the most successful team, it might have been a team that had a losing record, but they had a kid come out and be a doctor, and another kid that went to MIT and did incredibly well, and he's a multimillionaire now. And when you have kids like that, and you hear they're doing really well, okay, that's pretty special. So we have had a ton of success off the field and on the field, but we're still looking for that elusive ring, and we really want to win a CF title, and hopefully we can just take it one game at a time and take care of Serrano this week.
Well, Coach, it's always nice talking to you. You and I are close friends, and I'm always in your corner for you. I hope you can go out and get that ring starting on Friday up at Phelan Serrano. We will have all of the scores. We'll have all the highlights from your game of Friday night on the pep rally. Good luck, Coach, and we will talk to you Friday night post-game.
Yeah, I was going to say, we better stop this interview because it's getting dark out here, and I'm in my truck. So soon you won't be able to see me. You'll just hear a voice. So appreciate you guys and everything you do for high school sports. You do a tremendous job, and we appreciate it.
All righty. He's Ken Batdorf, and when we come back, we will have more on the Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV. Well, this man needs no introduction. He is a two-time defending CIF state champion from our very own California School for the Deaf, Riverside. One of my dear friends, one of our dear friends here in the city of Riverside, Keith Adams. How you doing, Coach?
I'm good. I look forward for the first game tomorrow night.
Well, I'll tell you what, everybody's been following your success over the last few years. I know they're talking about making movies, there's books. In fact, I need to have you sign my book tomorrow night. But how much fun has it been the last 4 years coaching the Cubs?
It's been crazy. It's been really cool, though, a little overwhelming at times, but then you get kind of used to it. Everybody wants to ask you a question. You got people wanting to sign the book now. And so it's fun. Yeah, it's a wild ride.
Now, have the players, have they changed at all? Have you seen over the last couple of years, have you had to reel them in and get them focused more because they are so famous now?
Yeah, a little bit. It's a changed culture. I mean, they can believe in themselves now with the successes and stuff. Before they had self-doubt. So they're a lot more confident in their abilities than before. We got the weight program. We play 5-on-5 passing. summer league. So they kind of got that feel, and off season is real key to physical strength, weightlifting, and a skill set.
Now, I know you're a family man. I see you all over Instagram, like you're in Hawaii, you're diving with turtles, hanging out with everybody. There's got to be a perk of being the coach at CSDR. And how important has it been for you to coach your sons?
Yes, it's nice to be able to coach my sons. Sometimes people might look and say, "Hey, man, are you favoring your kids a little bit?" Nah, I draw the line. They're players. So, we do what's best for the team. It's fun to play with your sons, but you kind of have to draw that line. I'm the coach on the field, and I'm dad and their sons outside of the field. So
now, I played for my dad growing up a little bit, and I used to argue with him, and he would chase me around and try to spank me during practices. Have you ever got to that point with your boys?
Yeah, a little bit. My oldest, we went at it a lot. My second son, he's a little more accepting of the coach aspect of it. But, so we got into it a little bit. I'm your coach. I'm not your dad on the field. So, yeah.
Well, I know you have a daughter who's a younger daughter who's getting ready to go into high school. I think she said she's going to go to Martin Luther King High School.
Yes.
Is she around? Does she go to all the games? And does she have fun with everything that's going on at CSDR?
Oh, yeah. I don't believe she's missed a game. So, yeah.
Now, you guys are starting the playoffs tomorrow night versus Cal Lutheran. We're going to have the game on Riverside TV, 7 p.m. What can you tell us about Cal Lutheran?
They got good size. They got some 6'3", 6'4" players. They're 8-1. I don't think we can't take them lightly. We got to still play hard. We got to play our game. We got to tackle. You never want to be overconfident. They got a good record. They're 8-1, and so they lost to a good team. They're one loss. So we don't want to we don't go in there and think that we got this in the bag, and we just got to play them hard.
Well, 8-man football is a lot different than 11-man. I think it's more fun to watch. I think it's entertaining. Does it make you a better coach because you have to do so many more different things than 11-man football?
I think there's positives and negatives to it. I think subbing out, because we're a small school, I think it helps being 8-man. Because you have 5 on the line, 8-man, there's only 3 on the line. So I think it helps with that process, and you use your players. But I think the offense and everything is still there. You got to be creative to make it work. Sometimes you got to make adjustments and be creative because it's 8-man. But it's been a fun ride. I enjoy it.
Well, we've heard about your two sons, wonderful players. Can you tell us about some of our other guys that we've watched over the years? Gio Visco, another one of those guys. Tell us about some of your players that when they watch tomorrow night, who to look for.
Well, Gio Visco, number 2, best all-around athlete, receiver, can play quarterback, can run the ball. He's just Mr. Offense. And then we have another running back, Michael Silve. He's small, but he's strong. He's, a lot of people underestimate his abilities. He hits hard too. He plays linebacker, so he hits really hard on defense. And then we have Xavier, number 25, who's just an animal on the line. And then we also have Darius DeMarca, number 15. Isaiah Baxter, who's number 3, who's a receiver. So we got a bunch of good kids on the team, and it's going to be a big day for them tomorrow.
Well, I suggest everybody go out at least one time in their lifetime. I love to go. I've been going to CSDR football games for 50 years. And I remember as a kid going with the drums and all of the cool things that CSDR has done, being innovative. They started the no huddle offense. You had, the long Pete Lanzi, a legendary coach. Do you know the history of how important CSDR football has meant on not just the high school game, the college game, but the professional game?
Oh yeah. He has been. Yeah. Many alumni they talk about Pete Lanzi, and I think a lot of people, alumnus, come up. Lanzi. I remember Lanzi when he coached and stuff. So yeah, he's a figure in CSDR's history.
Now, technologically, do you guys do anything? I mean, do you put do you just do hand signs to get the plays in? Because that's something that everybody always asks me. How do they get the plays in and out?
Yeah, it's based on the defensive formation. I take a look at that, and then the goal is to just unmatch what they're giving us and try to beat them. Look at their weakness. Look at where there might be a opportunity, and just kind of try to read the defense and then call the play. And that's kind of how we've been doing it, and it seems to have worked.
So what do you do when you play another deaf school? How do you call the plays in there? Because everybody's watching.
Yeah, I got the plays on my wrist, and I just kind of find a way. You gotta just change it up and try to make it work. If it's another deaf school, we just change certain things, the calls to be different. And we played 3 deaf schools, so it was a lot of change. But we don't have to do that now. Sometimes they might get an interpreter on their side, but because we're signing, basically different stuff that they're not familiar with, it just makes it work.
Well, that's great. I'll tell you, I do love going to CSDR games. It has been my pleasure to follow you guys the last, 5+ years. And I hope you continue to stay at CSDR because you're a great mentor and I think a great father to a lot of these young men that are transitioning into becoming adults. And it's very appreciated. You do a great job.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And now I want to know, how's your son doing at Gallaudet?
Unfortunately, first game he did good, but in the fourth quarter he tore his ACL, and then he's out for 6 weeks. Last week he played, but then he had an injury. In 2 weeks he should be playing a lot, I believe in 2 weeks, because they have a bye. So next week he should play a lot. Just had some bad luck. He tore his shoulder doing an AT&T commercial, and then the MCL, and then so hopefully that's the end of his injuries.
Now, will Caden follow his big brother?
Yes, yeah, but he doesn't want to play quarterback. He just wants to play defense at Gallaudet University.
You don't want a quarterback controversy, brother versus brother.
Right, probably.
All right, Coach. Before I let you go, I'm going to ask you just one question. Are you having fun still coaching football?
Oh yeah, I do enjoy it, definitely.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time and energy, and like I said, thanks for being a role model and mentor to so many people here in the city of Riverside. We're proud of you, and Riverside is your home, and we'll always count you in.
All right, yep.
All right, he is the great Coach Keith Adams from CSDR Riverside. They're going to take on Cal Lutheran out of, I believe, Wildemar, just down the road. It will be at CSDR, 7 p.m. Ghazal Hassan will have the call along with myself, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night on Riverside TV. We'll be right back with more on the Coach's Perspective on Riverside TV. And welcome back to the Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV as we're looking at the greatest trophy ever made, the Battle of the Kens Trophy, and I have the winner of the very first Battle of the Kens, the great Ken Mashinsky. How are you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing great, man. It is it's great to be here with you guys. It's the first time this year that I've been able to sit down and talk some shop with you, and obviously sit next to a great trophy that you guys made here at Riverside TV. It is it's an honor.
Well, first of all, I couldn't let you hold it when I first gave it to you because it's so delicate. And you know that we took the model. It's an actual life-size model of Jason McMains over at Martin Luther King. So we took his body and we made it. So now I can personally give it to you, Coach. You can't keep it because it'll break, but it's going to be right here next to you for this in the duration of our interview. How are you doing, Coach? First of all, great to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. It is really great to be back here, and I appreciate you guys having me.
First of all, I'm a Ramona Ram. I'm an alumnus. I'm in the Hall of Fame, for God's sakes. And I will tell you this. There is nobody that has done a better job of coaching in the history of Ramona since my birth, which is a long time ago, than this man I'm sitting across here, Coach.
Well, I appreciate that. It's been a great ride. This is our 8th year, and we've consistently kind of done better. I have a lot of great guys around me, great coaches, great administration, and just the Ramona community is so supportive. And the kids come and they bring it, and that leads to success a lot. So we're real happy.
Well, all I know is I think it's 16 in a row. Am I correct?
That is correct. We have won 16 in a row right now.
A 10-0 in league. You get the River Valley League title. I know you had another one a few years ago. But how special was it for you to go? You had that run last year that was so incredible, which I did call and say you were going to win the CIF and state championship.
You did.
How incredible has it been that you've continued and just got better? You lost a couple guys, and you got better this year. I mean,
yeah.
How does that feel?
Yeah, it's great. We always talk about the year 2 years ago with Bo, Nathan, we had and Dez. We had great kids, and we lost I think 25 seniors that year, and we did real well. And then. Last year we go and we have that great run and win 6 in a row, going to CIF and state, and then we lost 26 seniors last year. And this year, we go and seniors and other players just stepped up and we win. We win our next 10, and this year we have 34 seniors. So we're going to lose 34 seniors this year. And we don't know the outcome of 2024, but it's looking bright. And then, next year we will just rebuild just like we've been doing in the past.
Now, how have you rebuilt? I mean, it's a neighborhood school. For those of you that don't know, Ramona's like right in a neighborhood. You have Riverside Poly, it's the same way, Arlington. But how have you guys been consistently able to win with just neighborhood kids?
Well, I think it kind of all starts with the alumni. A lot of the alumni send their kids to Ramona, not only to play football, but to just attend school there, because it is a fabulous school. I also believe that having a consistent coaching staff is very important, and we've been real fortunate to keep coaches and even add some on, and we have a ton of alumni that are coaching with us. And then furthermore, just the support of the staff and the administration with all the coaches and all the kids. When you kind of add all that stuff together and put in a very positive community, you just get good things. And we've taken that and spun it into winning seasons, and it's been great. And we're real fortunate and lucky, and we know what we have, and we want to just keep working hard and continue to do well.
Now, I know you work so hard, but are you still having fun?
I am. Actually, we had our team meal tonight, Thursday night. We always do that at a parent's house. And I told the kids in my speech, like, I don't want to coach football when I'm not nervous, when it's not fun anymore. And I woke up Sunday morning, and when the brackets came out and we said Rio Hondo Prep, it's like I immediately got nervous again, and it was a great feeling. I told my wife Jennifer, like, oh, this is so good. I'm nervous. That means I still belong here. And she said the same thing. So yes, I get nervous before every game. I tell one of my assistant coaches, Adam Gonzalez, another alumni at Ramona, I said, man, Adam, I am nervous, and he says, I wouldn't expect anything different. Every game he says it.
Now, your first round, you're playing at home. You finally, it's great to have a home game, but you're playing against a CIF champ from last season. Correct. In a different division. Boy, did you tell the CIF thank you?
I know. It's funny. We just talked about that tonight at Team also. We won CIF Division 11, and Rio Hondo Prep won CIF Division 9. So you have two CIF champions meeting in the first round at CIF. We're real happy we have a home game, but it's going to be a battle. I actually grew up about 10 minutes from Rio Hondo Prep. I grew up in Temple City. Rio Hondo Prep is in Arcadia. So I know who they are, and I know, what they're capable of. And, our kids do too. They're a CIF champion. We're a CIF champion. Let's go.
Now, the brackets seem to be a little more fun in your division. It's everybody. We had Jason McMains on earlier, and he said he didn't want to talk about it. Coach, he gave me a lot of coach speak. I understand that, guys. I know McMains is all coach speak, but I have to say, as a fan and somebody who covers high school football, how much fun would it be for you to play against your old school and playing a second round game? You did it last year against Poly. How much fun would it be to play against King?
I'm gonna have to pull the Jason McMains.
No!
Here. I know it. Obviously it would be fun, but I am so focused on Rio Hondo Prep. They are such a good football team. I think a lot of coaches, a lot of teams, because of their lack of knowledge of who they are and where they come from, they kind of look past them. And we are definitely not doing that. I don't want to look ahead to Vista Del Lago or King, two great programs. I would love to play both of them. I'd love to obviously play King because that's where I came from, but I am so focused on Rio Hondo Prep that I don't even want to talk about anything but them.
All right. Well, let's talk.
Sorry.
That's
about
okay.
that.
Well, I tried. Everybody out there, I tried to get something out of Coach here about that King possibility about playing King. But let's talk about some of these names that we've mentioned over the couple of years. They're household names in Riverside. You got Long, you have Shiner, you have Tolbert, you have guys up and down that we've been talking about for years. How much fun has it been coaching those guys? And you've had a different quarterback for 3 years in a row.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We did talk about that, having a different quarterback. Cody we brought over. He was a great wide receiver. I mean, started for us for 16 games last year. Troy Long is a two-way dude that is, was a stud playing linebacker. We brought him over to the opposite side of the ball, so he's going both ways. Sincere, he's the CIF Player of the Year. So it's guys like that when, people say, hey, Coach, are you coming back next year? Are you still having fun? Are you still nervous? It's coaching guys like that keep us around. There's some other factors, but those guys they're studs, they're coachable, they're fun to be around. They're goofballs. Cody Shiner and Lucas Shiner, they are ultimate goofballs, and that's what keeps it fun, and that's what keeps it interesting. And the fact that we're winning, it's just kind of the cherry on top. It's the byproduct.
Well, Lucas is my favorite Shiner because he's a long snapper. He's left-handed, by the way, and his brother is a right-handed quarterback.
He is.
And they're identical twins.
Yes.
Oh, they're
not identical, but
They're
they're twins.
Okay,
yes.
They're twins, but they're goofy.
They are goofy.
Our
whole team this year, just like last year. Last year we were made up of some fun, goofy kids, and this year it didn't disappoint. These kids just get goofier by the week. But they come out and they play, and they play hard, and they're tough nosed, and their parents are very supportive, and they're tough nosed, and that's where they get it from. And I think that's what helps us keep producing wins. Hopefully we bring that grit, that toughness tomorrow night, and get one versus Rio Hondo Prep.
Okay, that leads me to my next question. How do you keep guys focused after going 10-0, being a state champion last year? How have you been able to keep those kids focused without getting their heads, kids, they're kids.
Yeah.
They're going to do goofy things, but how do you keep them focused?
Absolutely. That's a great question. Going 10-0, selfishly as a coach, it's fantastic. I've never done it. But put that aside, I don't think that the kids even got to celebrate going 10-0. Maybe a little bit, but once we pulled Rio Hondo Prep and the kids started looking at who Rio Hondo Prep was, because they didn't know who they were. They started, realizing, oh man, they played Torrance this year. They're not 8-1. They won a division or a CIF championship, Division 9. We were only in Division 11. It wasn't hard to keep them focused. It wasn't hard to say like, hey, Rio Hondo Prep is for real. We watched their film, obviously a lot of it, and you see it on film. This is a very, very good team. There's a reason why they're in the playoffs. There's a reason why they have continuously been in the playoffs for, I want to say it's been like 20 years. They're like the Norco of the smaller prep schools. They're for real. They have some unbelievable players. Their coaching is top notch, and it is going to be a battle for our kids, and our kids know it. Our kids know that they're going to have to come out, play hard, and it's going to be a great Friday night light game. You can't ask for anything more.
Well, I can't wait. In fact, I'm a little angry we don't have the game, but I will say this. You're an empty nester now. Your son's a sophomore at UC Santa Barbara. You and your beautiful wife are empty nesters. What does Ken Mashinsky do on the weekends now that he doesn't have to take kids around to practices and games? What does Ken and his wife do?
Yeah, well, Saturday is usually spent as pretty much a lazy day, yard work, typical dad stuff. Sunday is a football day. Sunday, the coaches meet. I usually go to church in the morning, and then we meet in the afternoon. Spend a few hours going over tape, kind of our game plan, what we're going to do. Sunday night is a big cooking night for myself and my wife Jennifer, and we sit back and we're goofballs just like our football team. We sit back and we watch TV shows and we laugh and look at each other and be like, oh, can you believe us? We're just sitting here watching TV shows like a bunch of old people. It's fantastic. We love it. I'm going to go home tonight and we're going to do the same exact thing, and it's great.
Hopefully you're not too old watching like old Matlock episodes or Murder, She Wrote. But I do know this. I being that I'm a wealthy human being and have a yacht in Newport Beach, sometimes I look down and I see this other boat, and I see these Mashinskis. You guys are boaters, aren't you?
We are boaters. We have been boaters all our life, usually at the lake, but now Jennifer gave me the blessing to buy an ocean boat. So we bought a Sea Ray several years back, and we have it down in Long Beach. So we spend a lot of time down there. Obviously during the football season it's tough, but it's just a nice getaway. It's real quiet, great people down there, and it's just, it's nice to be together on the boat and just have a real chill, relaxed time, listen to some good music, and we even watch TV on the boat.
Well, I will say this: if you come near my boat, please don't scratch it with your dinghy next to my yacht. Well, hey, I'll tell you what, he is Ken Mashinsky, I'm Jeff Gorham, and that'll do it for today's episode of the Coach's Perspective on Riverside TV. Join us tomorrow night as we have CSDR battling Cal Lutheran, and then we'll have all the scores, highlights, and everything else in the Inland Empire, all the first round scores in CIF on the Pep Rally at 11 p.m. So join us. For everybody here at Riverside TV, playoff action is going to be here, and we thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Good night, everybody.